Hello and welcome to Week 1, Unit 4. In the last unit, we are focused on our own company. Now we will have a closer look at external parties involved in the supply chain. First, there are of course customers and suppliers that we do business with. But there are other parties involved. Maybe one of our warehouses might be operated by a third-party logistics service provider, or called 3PL. We also might use a freight forwarder to ship the goods to the customer. There might also be external staff executing services on behalf of your company. So how is this reflected in SAP Business by Design? All parties you interact with are first represented by an entity called business partner. This can be a business partner person or a business partner organization. A business partner person could be a customer, for example in a consumer business. I will also use the term account instead of customer. Another example is a service agent, which is a person not employed in your company but working for your company. Business partner organizations could, for example, be suppliers. But in a B2B type of business, also again accounts. Here the account represents a company that buys goods from your company. In the system, each business partner only needs to be created once, and then you can assign multiple roles to it. Of course, these roles can differ if the business partner is a person or an organization. A person could be an account and a service agent at the same point in time. A business partner organization can be a supplier and at the same time an account of your company. Some of the roles are grouped together. A special type of supplier is the warehouse provider, running your warehouse on your behalf in a 3PL scenario. Other supplier roles are freight forwarder or bidder. You can also maintain relationships between business partners, here highlighted with an arrow. A service agent, for example, could be employed at one of your suppliers. Also, business partner persons could be contact persons at your supplier or account. As you might remember, our enterprise consists of two companies called Almica and Innovat. Since these companies are legally independent companies, they also act as an account and supplier for each other. To reflect this, the system automatically creates a business partner with the roles supplier and account for every company in the organizational management. Consequently, when transferring goods from Almica to Innovat, Almica acts as a supplier for Innovat and Innovat acts as a customer for Almica. In week 4, we will have a closer look at this intercompany sell and buy process, sometimes also called intercompany stock transfer. Sometimes there are situations where you cannot model all companies of an enterprise within the same tenant. Or maybe you run a two-tier ERP strategy and your headquarter uses S/4HANA and your subsidiaries run SAP Business by Design. In those cases, you first need to set up those companies as supplier or account business partners. In addition, you need to create a partner company for those supplier and customer business partners. This is needed for financial reporting purposes, so that you can distinguish between external and intercompany business. All companies modeled in the organizational management org structure are automatically partner companies. Let me now show you where to find the business partner related work centers and how to create partner companies. In the Work Center Business Partner Data, there is a view Business Partners. Here you can find all the business partners created in Business by Design. Already here you see a business partner for Almica, our company. Let me open the advanced filter and have a look at the value hub of the business partner roles. You see a long list of available roles in Business by Design. Of course, roles like supplier and account are here. Let me select the accounts. And here you see again Almica and Innovat, our companies, also as the account business partner, but many others. Imagine now we have a company, Lau Plumbing, which is our account, but now we decided that it's also to buy things, so he also acts as a supplier for us. We select this and now can create it as supplier. Already some data are pre-filled from the account business partner data, but you can also add additional purchasing related data like the payment terms or the purchase order currency. You also see some additional identifiers which assign further supplier roles to this business partner, like bidder, freight forwarder or warehouse provider. Let me close this without saving. Now the other use case was that maybe we work together with a headquarter. Let's assume business partner HPA Sweden is our headquarter. And you see we've already created business partner data for it. Now I need to create a partner company for this. This can be done in the General Ledger Work Center in the view Partner Companies. Here again you see that Almica and Innovat, our two companies, are already partner companies. Let me create a new partner company and select our business partner HPA Sweden. I can also specify the date from which this business partner is affiliated to us as a company. Let's choose 1st of August. Now financial reporting will recognize transactions with this business partner as intercompany transactions. Let me again close without saving and return to the slides. Now that you've understood how business partners are modeled, let us have a closer look at what we call a distribution network. Our company Almica has 3 warehouses from where goods can be shipped to the customers. You can see them highlighted with A, B and C. To save transportation costs and to shorten delivery lead times, it makes sense to ship the goods from the nearest warehouse to the customer. So, whenever a customer is in one of the orange-colored states, he would be delivered from warehouse A. The light gray states would be delivered from B, and the dark gray states would be delivered from C. These types of normal shipments are marked with a blue arrow. Of course, there could be exceptions to this assignment. There might be customers in a dark gray state which get their goods from warehouse A. See the green arrow in our example. Also, some goods might only be available in warehouse C and thus always need to be shipped from there. I've highlighted this with the red arrow. Sometimes you first distribute the goods from a production site to a warehouse before it is shipped to the customer. This is represented by the black arrows. This process is also known as intra-company stock transfer, because the stock is transferred between 2 sites of the same company. Maybe a supplier directly sends goods to customers on our behalf. See the orange arrow. This process is also called third-party order processing or drop shipment. We will cover this in detail in week 4. To address the various use cases we have just seen, we mainly offer 2 objects, the transport zone and the transport lane. The role of the transport zone is to group customers that should get their goods from the same site. So if 2 customers belong to the same transport zone, and they order the same product, then they should be delivered from the same site. The transport zone can either be defined by a list or a range of countries, regions, or postal codes, or alternatively, a transport zone could also be set up directly as a list of customers. In our example, we would define 3 transport zones to group the orange, light gray, and dark gray states. A global transport zone is pre-delivered in the system, and you can use it if a separation of your customers by transport zones is not needed. Now let's talk about the transport lanes. You can use them to define which goods can be shipped within a certain time from a specific site to a specific transport zone. Let me explain what steps are taken by the system when a sales order for a supply chain material is entered. In step 1, the system determines the transport zones. This is either done by checking if the account is directly assigned to a transport zone or if it fits into a transport zone based on the ship-to address in the sales order items. There could also be multiple transport zones a sales order item fits into. In a second step, all lanes are evaluated that are directed from a site to the just determined transport zone. In step 3, it is checked if the material requested by the customer can be transported with this lane. Of course, the relevant logistics master data for material need to be available for the site. See step 4. If there are still multiple potential ship-from sites, you can prioritize the transport lane that should be automatically considered. You can still change the ship-from site proposed by the system manually if needed. You remember that sometimes goods need to be distributed from a production site to a warehouse site of the same company. This is the second use case for transport lanes. Here, they are defined between 2 sites. Again, allowed products and shipment duration can be specified. You will learn more about this intra-company stock transfer use case in week 4. Now let me show you how to set up zones and lanes in the system. In the Workcenter Supply Chain Design Master Data, you can find two views, which is the transport zones and the transport lanes view. Let's first select the transport zones. You see already the global transport zone pre-delivered. Imagine now we want to do new business in California. Therefore, we would first create a new transport zone for California. Let's call it California. And here down we can assign the region to this transport zone. Of course, again, we would use California. Next, we need to determine from which site we want to ship goods to this new transport zone, California. This can be done by creating a new transport lane. Here you see on the right that we can specify the transport zone for this lane, which means that this lane can now be used to ship goods to California. I now have to enter the ship from site as well. Let's assume we want to ship our goods from Almaker Heating Cleveland to California. You can also specify a shipment duration. Here it is 1 day. Down here you can also specify the allowed products. I want to allow to ship every product via this lane. If you want to have a stock transfer process, an intra-company, instead of a transport zone, you would specify the ship to site. Let me close the screen without saving. Let me summarize what we've learned in Unit 4. I've shown you the different business partners in a supply chain environment and how they are modeled using types and roles. I've also explained the relationship between the organizational management, especially the company and the business partner, and have introduced the partner-company concept. Finally, I've shown you transport zones and lanes to model your distribution network. See you in the next unit.